If you're thinking about getting into the wedding business, especially as a DJ, this video is going to be for you. Now, this past weekend, I did 2 weddings back to back, and basically I follow this formula every single time to make sure I am super organized and so that I can do the best that I can at these weddings. Now, the scary part about, I guess, DJing a wedding is that you're DJing and you're playing music for people that you've never met. And I guess it can be the same thing when you're playing at a club, at a venue, or stuff, anything that is kind of similar in that realm as well. But there's usually a format that the booking manager will give you, or the venue will give you, and you stick to that format. And a lot of those people that go to these venues, they can kind of expect what type of music is going to be played. And it makes your job just a little bit easier, and it's a little bit more consistent. Now, what I've seen in the past and what I've heard in the past, where DJs get caught up in playing the same type of songs and whatnot, and it's not very customized. Well, that's because they think every wedding is the same. Now, that's not the case, because you really want to understand your client and you want to understand their guests as well. So this video, I'm basically going to break down how I go from the very beginning when I have that first consultation call with my client all the way until I am about to DJ their wedding on their wedding day. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so basically after I have a few emails back and forth with my potential client, I send them my contract, and once I sign that back and they send me their deposit or retainer fee, I essentially send them a wedding outline. Now, I always tell my clients that they don't necessarily have to use this, but it's basically something to kind of help guide them through the planning process, especially when it comes to music. So the document kind of looks like this, and you can go ahead and create your own. Now, my friend had sent me this. To be honest, I kind of just copy and paste the format that he basically did, and I added a few things on my own. You guys can pretty much do the same. So the very first page, I have wedding party entrance, wedding couple entrance, first dance, mother and son, and the list kind of goes on. Basically, these items here are very Western American traditional type of things that you would do at a wedding. Of course, I've done different cultural weddings, like Vietnamese weddings, Korean weddings, Chinese weddings, and they have other traditions that they like to do, like tea ceremonies, table greetings, and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind. And for the most part, I'd say maybe 20% of my clients would do every single one of these, but a lot of times some people will cut things out, like the garter toss. I feel like that has been something that people are not really doing anymore. I live in Portland, Oregon. Not sure if that's happening everywhere else, but a lot of my clients are not doing the garter toss. They're still doing the bouquet toss, which is pretty cool and fun, but not the garter toss. So basically what I tell my clients is within each of these items here, they do have an option for me to play a song if they want, but they don't have to. Obviously, it's going to be their wedding. They can pretty much do whatever they want. And then I basically go into the flow of the night. So the first thing that would happen after the ceremony is going to be the cocktail hour music. So here I have a few suggestions that I feel like that could work really well, but I also lean on my clients to give me some direction and some guidance of what they would want to hear during their cocktail hour. Most of the time, I'd say the client, the couple that's getting married, they're not going to be like hanging out during cocktail hour. They might be for the last half of it, but basically they're going to be kind of staying behind and taking photos. So they're not really going to hear any of this. So in my perspective, to be a successful wedding DJ, this is a great way, especially if you plan on mixing during cocktail hour, then you can definitely kind of do some trial and error and kind of tease the audience, their guests, different types of music, of course, things that are fitting to cocktail hour to see what they like. That should then set you up for a good dinner playlist and a good dance playlist for later on the night. So basically, again, this list, when you're looking through it, can be very generic, can be very cheesy, but these are recognizable songs that almost anybody should know, especially if they're living in the United States. And then I have dinner music, and it's some suggestions. It's going to be things that make sense within the time of the day, they're having dinner. And of course, I again will then lean on my clients. What I typically do just to make it a little bit easier for myself is I always like to say, hey, for cocktail hour and dinner music, if you can provide maybe 10 to 20 songs that you can send to me. That way I have a little bit of a foundation to work off of, and I can pretty much add to this playlist where I could see fit. Now, 10 to 20 songs might even fill up the entire time for the cocktail hour and the dinner portion of it too. Now, when it comes to the dinner portion and the cocktail portion of the night, you have basically two options. Now, in the beginning, when I first started my wedding business, I would mix from cocktail hour all the way to the end of the dance party. I mean, it's going to be up to you. I like to do it if it makes sense, but if the room is split or cocktail hour is at a different location of the venue, it may not make sense for me to do that. And I usually would just throw on like a Spotify playlist, or I'll make a pre-made mix with all the songs that they want. And basically that will work fine. Again, between dinner music and cocktail hour music, nobody's really paying a lot of attention to the music. It's more of a background music, a vibe setter, if you will. So think about it that way. And then now we go into basically the dance portion of the music. Now I have things ranging from different centuries. Again, this is going to be a lot from what my friend has made. And I pretty much just copy and paste it and added in a few things that I thought that would work as well. So starting off with the 60s, you know, you got some of the old school thing that you can get like grandmas and grandpas out on the dance floor because it's going to be recognizable to them. That's what they were listening to when they were younger. Then the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, which I think right now, especially on the West Coast, maybe just in Portland, Oregon, I don't know. But some of these records are resurfacing again due to TikTok and social media. And I feel like if some of the Gen Zs and millennials, if they're kind of like doing their research on music, if they're music nerds or whatever, they'll realize that a lot of the songs that are being put out today, they're either being sampled or they were inspired by some of these older songs that came out in the early 90s and 2000s. Again, when you're looking at the screen here, some of these songs, again, is going to be kind of cheesy, but they do get a good reaction at weddings. And the best thing that you can do is use this as a fallback guide when you're DJing a wedding. So like Beyonce, Macklemore, Maroon 5, Katy Perry, Chris Brown, Britney Spears, Flo Rida, like all these different artists are going to be a hit and a banger at a wedding because one, they're danceable, they're singable, and they're recognizable. Those are basically the three criteria that I like to explain to my clients when they're compiling a playlist for the dance portion of the night. The reason why I say that is because your job as a DJ is to pretty much keep the energy on the dance floor, create an experience, create a vibe, and you're helping out your other fellow vendors, your photographers and videographers. If you suck as a DJ, basically what that means is people might not want to stay on the dance floor, or maybe you might clear the dance floor. And it's going to be a really hard time for those photographers and videographers to create those moments if you're not really doing your job. So again, once you get a little bit of experience, I guess, playing at different types of weddings and learning the different types of scenarios that could happen during a dance party and whatnot, then you should have different types of crates in your Serato or in your DJ software that will prepare you to transition in and out of certain things. So I always give my clients this document so that they can have something to go off of. Now, of course, they're going to have their own perspective of what they think is going to be good for their own dance party. But at the same time, you know, I always ask my clients for that freedom to say, hey, I know you provided this playlist for me that I asked for, but there's gonna be some songs that I probably won't play just because I think it might not be the best. But if you come up to me during the dance party and say, hey, I have to hear this song, I will play it for you. But part of them hiring a DJ is they're relying on your experience and your judgment to make sure that they have a good time and also for their guests. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now at the very bottom of this document, and personally I don't like to play these songs. I think they're even more cheesy from what's above, but it's the Cupid Shuffle, Electric Slide, YMCA, Shout. Like, they can be fun wedding songs, and I feel like that might be like a last resort for me if I've been playing from everything that I know that would get a good reaction but didn't. This might be my go-to, just because I would say 60 to 80% of the people that are attending the wedding should know one of these songs and can maybe dance to it, especially like the Cupid Shuffle or the Cha-Cha Slide. Like, that's just something that you can kind of get everybody in. But yeah, that's pretty much what this document looks like. So the next thing that I want to show you is going to be in my Serato, and basically it's my main wedding folder that I have. And the biggest thing for me about DJing is being prepared and understanding the different scenarios that can happen during a wedding or during an event that you're DJing at. And the best way to do that is just kind of role play things in your mind and basically take a deep dive into the itinerary that was given to you and really understand the flow of the night. So what that really looks like is, let's say you have the dance party scheduled from 8 p.m. all the way to 10 p.m. Last call is at like 10:15, music completely off at 10:30. But in between 8 and 10, there's a bouquet toss. That's going to be a disruption in the dance party, which means there's like a little break. So typically what that would happen is you're doing something, you're opening it up and at 8 p.m. and you're going hard, you're playing a lot of bangers, trying to get people on the dance floor, or maybe you're warming it up, and the bouquet toss is at 9 p.m., like smack in the middle. Essentially, what could happen, one or two things, is people could stay on the dance floor, or people might do something else. They might go get a drink, they may go to the bathroom, they may just take a break from dancing. It really depends on a lot of things that you may not be able to control. So as a DJ, you just want to be prepared and kind of take them on a ride when it comes to music. So let's say you just got done do the bouquet toss, it's 9 p.m. and you still have an hour left of dancing, but you still want to make sure that people have a good time and they stay on the dance floor. Well, you need to find a song that you can just drop on the one. Basically, it's going to be recognizable, it's going to be high energy, and people are going to want to stay. Now, if you don't have that prepared and you just play some type of song that has a mid-level energy or low energy, now you may have to hop on the mic, and if it's a slower tempo song, you can make an announcement for like, oh, it's time to do the slow dance, or something to basically interact with the crowd and kind of give them direction of what's going on. So if you play a song at high energy and it's not working, a lot of people left and they're going to go do something else, then you want to maybe change it up from that high energy tempo song to a low energy, so that you're playing the right song at the right time, because now you're just going to be burning some of your higher energy songs when it just doesn't really make sense when nobody's on the dance floor. Maybe you can go and try for maybe 1 or 2 more songs and see if that gets any reaction, maybe get some people to come back. But if there is no reaction, maybe play something a little bit slower, a little bit more mellow, and play to the room, play to the vibe. So that's basically what I would want to do if that were to happen. So let me just show you guys what that looks like in my Serato. All right, so here I have Serato open, and basically, this will look very similar to whatever DJ software that you're using, Tractor, Virtual DJ, Serato, whatever. Basically, this is how I have everything set up for my wedding playlist. So I have one crate that I will continue to work on and basically create different types of playlists that I feel that would make sense for different scenarios. For example, I have a wedding banger playlist. Basically, I feel like these songs would do really well at a wedding, and it should be very inclusive. It's recognizable, danceable, it's singable, all that stuff, depending on the type of client that I'm DJing for. And usually I try to feel that out at the very beginning when it comes to consulting with them over the phone, FaceTime, and whatnot. So this is kind of what I was talking about before. Let's say that, you know, the couple wanted to do like a slow dance and you were playing some high energy stuff and transitioning from like high energy, maybe some Rihanna into Ed Sheeran, it's going to be a little tough. So what you can do is basically do an echo out, let the song fade out, make an announcement, and basically transition that way, and then just drop the song. And again, it's all about giving people direction. Now, what I've learned from being a DJ is that people just want to like be told what to do, and they want to have fun doing it. So as long as you make it fun and clever and whatever, you know, show your personality, then that's what's going to make you a better DJ once you can perfect that skill set. So getting on the mic, making that announcement, and just basically letting them know what's going to happen next gives them that direction, and you're basically telling them what to do. So this is my slow dance room clip. I'll pull out one of these songs that I feel like, you know, would kind of fit the vibe. And every now and then I'll just kind of pull from that. But I also do it kind of from memory and other things that I feel like that could, I don't know, like be good at the moment. So when I DJ, I'm really into the moment, and I kind of just like think of things on the top of the head, because the more that you do it, you're going to be deeper in your bag, and you're just going to understand what song flows well, what song fits well. So sometimes I don't even pull from a crate. I just kind of know. I'll just quick search through my entire library and play the song. Now, basically, once you get your document back from your client, or once they send you the different playlists on Spotify, Apple Music, basically all the music that they want, this is how I basically have everything set up in a folder on Serato. So for this wedding here, let's go ahead and take Marissa and Eric. So I always have the client's names up here on their crate along with the date, just so that, you know, I don't get them mixed up with any other wedding. So they have their own separate folder. Within that folder, I have separate folders for each of the events. So if I click on it, it should look something like this. So I do it by chronological order. So the first one is going to be ceremony, because that's what happens first. So first I have ceremony, and I have it labeled like this: processional, bridal march, recessional. Now sometimes there's going to be other things that are incorporated into the ceremony. And of course, the client should tell you if they're going to have some type of reader, or they're going to have like an artist play like a musical instrument or something like that. I mean, that is something that you should know. That way you're prepared. But essentially, I have it this way just so that I know what to play. And once I get the cue, I'll go ahead and start the processional song for people to walk out, then the bridal march, then the recessional, right? So after that, of course, typically it goes into cocktail. I didn't have a cocktail playlist for this specific wedding because their cocktail was downstairs. It wasn't in the same room that I was going to be in or near. So I basically had cocktail on a Spotify playlist on an iPad playing downstairs where people were going to be. But when people came back up to the main space, which was going to be dinner, here's my dinner playlist that I built for them, or what they wanted to hear. But then I also added a few songs that I feel like would be a good fit based on what they had selected. Then this is a guest arrival. This is going to be a different playlist that I thought I was going to be DJing for, but I didn't have to because that was also going to be on the iPad, but I have it on here just in case. Want to hear? This is the playlist that they gave me, where here's all the songs that we want to hear during the dance party. And throughout the time that I'm mixing for the dance party and whatnot, I will pull from this folder to satisfy what they want to hear. But then I use my expertise, what I think people might want to hear. So I have that at the very top because it just makes sense for me that way. But the groomsmen's entrance, the bridesmaids entrance, sometimes people want to do like the couple entrance where, you know, one of the groomsmen and one of the bridesmaids will pair up and they'll do their own entrance. But this makes it really easy for me because I only have to make 2 announcements, and then it's the bride and groom entrance. Then we went to first dance, father and daughter, mother and son, bouquet toss, and they had some music that they wanted for the tea ceremony, which was also downstairs on an iPad. So I always have it on here just in case. You never know. You just want to be prepared. Then they have last call, and that was pretty much it. So if you set it up this way, I believe there's no way that you can really mess up unless you have the wrong song in the wrong crate. So before every wedding, I always check the itinerary, the song list that they gave me, and make sure everything matches up to what I have in my Serato. And if you do it that way, basically that should almost guarantee you there's no way that you can really mess up any of the special dances, any of the special moments when it comes to the music part. So hopefully that helps. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think, if you guys do things a little bit differently. And if you're new here to this channel, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Peace.